Hey there, welcome back to my channel. So glad that you are back on this fine Wednesday. So yeah, we are appearing to go from New Year's new love to New Year's getting over an old love. Now, if you are familiar with this coupling here, Ochocinco and Cherelle, which I believe is his ex-fiance at this point, yeah, it became a splash when their split was heard all over social media. It turned out to be a bit of correspondence through comments that actually kind of piqued the interest of individuals. And then the next thing, everything blew up. And when we found out that Cherelle, from I think she's on Selling Tampa, I have not seen that show. If you have, let me know down below. And that their split has occurred. Apparently, they had a child together as well. And I don't know how long they were together. Maybe the sharing will, talk about it. If it doesn't mention it and you're familiar, throw it down below. I'd be curious to know. But it seemed like a very unfortunate situation, and yet again a situation in which I wonder if Ochocinco really wants to be in a relationship. Sometimes some people are just meant to just date around and just have fun and not really take things too seriously with anyone, because it never seems to really go the distance, right? And if it's an attempt to go the distance, it just pretty much explodes spectacularly, as we unfortunately have saw between him and Evelyn Lozado's marriage some years back. So let's get into some of the details as far as Cherelle is now speaking to some of those details and what brought them to the place that they are in currently. And yes, let's go ahead and get into it. So according to the New York Post, it is sharing that Chad Johnson's ex-fiancée, Cherelle Rosado, reveals she found text messages from other women before the breakup. Now, I want to add that Cherelle actually really got into it. So there are some choice words in here that I'll be changing up a little bit because she really did go in. So just keeping that in mind. So it further goes to say that Cherelle Rosado said she was fed up upon revealing her breakup with Chad Ochocinco Johnson last October. Now, the Selling Tampa alum confirmed their split in a since deleted post on X, which stated that the former NFL wideout is a free man, nearly 2 years after getting engaged in January of 2023. Now, during an appearance Thursday on the Reality with the King podcast, Rosado explained that she went through Johnson's phone and allegedly came across text messages between him and other women. The stuff I saw was crazy, Rosado 37 told host Carlos King. Now, when King asked if she and Johnson had a monogamous relationship, Rosado had replied, "When we were together, there were some goings on and I found out about it, texting other women, and then of course there's an audible sound during that interview." Now, she says, "I was like, freaking this stuff. Do you know who I am? I know who you are and I respect what you have, but it is what it is. And nobody's perfect. I just feel like when things happen, be honest about it." So it appears that, maybe she wouldn't have been so caught up in anger if she had knew about what was going on, or maybe she would have been less inclined to walk away as quickly as she did had she just been honest with the situation. I'm not sure which. Now, she says that it shouldn't lead to that point of how I'm finding out, she said. And I agree with that too. So she says, "Yes, when I went to the phone, and that's how I found out," Rosado continued, adding she found women everywhere on his device. "They're going to throw themselves at him because of who he is," she said. "Chad is a fine man. He's very good looking and he's showing out, and he's showing out now because he's in the jam." Rosado, who did not disclose what exactly she found in Johnson's phone, said the pair weren't in a good place in their relationship due to their busy schedules at the time. She added it was hard to deal with Johnson's fame and women throwing themselves at him and disrespecting her in public. Rosado claimed she and Johnson both cried when they had a few words, but was allegedly discovered on his device. The main thing was, I would say, the cheating. I feel like we should have communicated better because I reacted out of anger when I said y'all can have his, derriere, because I felt like, oh, now you're playing with my name. I was just fed up. I was like, y'all want to mess around and play with me? I'm about to let everyone know they can have your derriere, and I'm moving on. I wanted to know him. I wanted to show him I wasn't, messing around, necessarily playing with him. King brought up rumors that Johnson gave Rosado an STD and that she caught him cheating on surveillance footage which she denied. Let me put that back again because that just threw me for a minute. So King brought up rumors that Johnson had gave Rosado an STD and that she caught him cheating on surveillance footage, which then she denied. Okay. I respect Chad, and at the end of the day, we're still a family, no matter what things happen, Rosado said. Nobody's perfect, and I'm not here to judge him. I've had infidelity issues. It happened to me. I did it to someone. I've done it to somebody in my younger days. Well, sometimes you just got to be honest. Now, Rosado, who shares 2-year-old daughter Serenity with Johnson, started crying when King asked if it's hard co-parenting after the split. Later, we'll see, she said, when asked if she would get back with Johnson. But I'm having fun traveling. I'm just enjoying life right now. But on a serious note, yes, after therapy, after everything, once we clear the slate with everything, I would be open to going on a date with him, and we could go from there. Now, the former All-Pro wideout has previously referenced their split during his and Shannon Sharpe's Nightcap podcast and explained he wanted Rosado back. Now, Johnson and Rosado had went public with their romance in November of 2020 and then got engaged in January of 2023. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Now, Ochocinco, I did see that interview, that clip that kind of went all over the place. I think it kind of went semi-viral, if not full-on viral, that he did with Shannon Sharpe. And I think it was one of their podcasts. I'm wondering if they do that together, on a regular basis. But nevertheless, he was basically, having a deep moment in conversation about what men tend to do when it comes to cheating. And, Shannon was trying to give some advice and basically say, what men do is they basically, go for I'll just say the less difficult situation, looking for a dime in a dime versus the full package person. So you can have an 80% and 90% woman and then get upset with the situation, turn around, go find yourself a 20%er, and then trying to get that 80% out of that 20% and realizing that, oh my gosh, I had a whole 80% over here. That's just, kind of an example. And I don't know if you use that percentage or not, but that's what I'm kind of, getting connected to. But that being said, we see this clip and I'm just sitting here shaking my head as I'm watching it. And Ocho was like crying and tears just are going. And I'm just like, I don't understand. I mean, you've got the situation. Clearly, you guys were in a long committed relationship. You have a child together. You're already there. So why not work on yourself during the situation or before you get into a situation if you have a problem with fidelity? Now, she does share that she had issues when she was younger with infidelity herself. So she's done it to somebody. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you deserve it to happen to you multiple times over from other people in the future. People do make mistakes. Now, I will say this, in my opinion, though, that if you do become yourself a part of a situation that is already with somebody and then you are part of that split, that you shouldn't be in that, area. And then they decide to, you run off with them and they decide to then go with somebody else. Well, I do believe that, a lot of times you do lose them how you get them. So, I don't know if that's necessarily a situation that was, in part here with her and Chad. It kind of feels like he's the one that did the cheating and maybe not her. I don't really know. That's my thoughts about it. But, at this point, she does have a child, a daughter, no doubt. So, giving and leading by example of how you would address and deal with these types of things would be most helpful, even when the child is as young as she is, because, contrary to what many people will say, children do remember things. They remember trauma. They remember things that are not pleasant, just as if they may have memories of things that are pleasant. It does affect them. It affects their mood. It affects things even when you don't outwardly see it at that time. Some of those things do revisit itself later on. So never underestimate the tension that you have in your home when you have little kids, because yes, they do pick up on those things. So, for her to be able to make that split, I'm pretty sure it was difficult. At the end of the day, they were engaged. They do have a child. And I do feel like she probably in her heart, in all earnestly, that she was going to stay with him, for the duration of time. It just ended up not being as long as maybe she had hoped it to be. And then I see him crying and I'm just trying to understand, well, then why do you mess up in the first place? I think there is therapy for this kind of stuff. But I mean, and then maybe sometimes you're just that kind of person where no matter how hard you want to be something, you're just not. And in his case, maybe he just can't be that person that stays in a long-term relationship. And that's okay. There's different strokes for different folks, but cheating and all that stuff, unless there is a understanding between the two parties of what exactly this relationship is going to look like and that you agree upon those things, it's not going to work. you know? So the fact that she's staying open to a possibility of getting back together at a later time, I find it to be quite interesting that, that she might be thinking about doing that. Usually people, once they're cut, they cut. And if it happens, it happens. But, at the end of the day, there's probably a lot of love there. And probably there is a point where she could be more forgiving about the situation, where some of us maybe like scorched earth. I'm one of those scorched earth people, by the way. So but if for her, maybe that's not necessarily a deal breaker, and that's okay too, right? Different strokes again for different folks. So I am quite perplexed again why he screwed this one up, because I knew that there was it didn't seem to be like issues or anything, but I knew he was involved with someone. I was a little shocked that they were having a child, but because I know he's got a few kids already, and I just didn't necessarily see him having more children. But that's great and wonderful. So I thought, well, hey, maybe he finally got it. He finally got it right this time for him, right? And and then this happens. So, and it's got to be humiliating too, considering the fact I know that she's with him and he's a celebrity, and she might be slightly a celebrity in her own right. Doing that sell in Tampa. I don't know how popular that is or not, but either way, the disrespect from other people is just unnecessary. And why are we doing that? I mean, but yeah. Okay, Sarah, I guess. But at the end of the day, he seems to be pining for her and wants her back. I don't know if New Year will give new opportunities, as this was kind of cresting us in out of last year and into this year, or if he will just decide to, kind of move on with his life and just get to a successful co-parenting situation. I do find it, sad, and I did not watch the full interview myself. I may take some time if I can to watch it, just to get some of those additional details, they kind of fit along with the story. But I did, feel a little bad, reading about the fact that she, got emotional about the co-parenting situation after the split, because I'm imagining she probably didn't think that that's what she would be doing, right? Co-parenting with him by a split, right? Co-parenting together is one thing, but I don't think she really thought about that they would not be together. And then of course the holidays, were just coming out of those. That was probably obviously very sad. So hopefully she's taking good care of herself, getting herself to a place of being healthy emotionally. And it does sound like from how the interview was going, even though of course she did have some sharings, and that's fine to be totally honest about how you feel. It does seem like she's in a place anyways, or in a space that she's kind of moving forward and trying to regain whatever she needs to regain in order to be able to move forward for whatever she needs to do, because at the end of the day she does have to make sure she is there and present and ready for her child, because that child's going to need all the attention that she can give and more. So with that, I would love to know your thoughts. Are you surprised that another one bites the dust when it comes to Ochocinco? Do you think that it's a possibility that they may get back together? Or do you think that, sometimes when you just do these things that you continue to keep perpetuatingly doing, or maybe it's just allegedly doing, I don't know, it just does never seem like he can keep it together. I don't know. He's just like a really nice guy and all, friendly, probably have a real good time, probably, jokester, all the time, and maybe keep you laughing. Relationships, I don't know, relationships are hard now. Don't get me wrong. They can be hard and they can be trying, but you got to be in there to do the work, and you got to communicate. That was something you mentioned in the sharing, and communication, I believe, is 100% key. And honesty, right? If you're caught at the situation, just go on and get it out. It's not like if she's asking you the question, she already knows the answer. Okay, especially when it comes to stuff like this. And I know some people may think, hey, well, when you go looking for stuff, you got to be careful. Watch what you're going out there to look for, because you just may find it. I personally would say, look, what? If you have something in you that says that there's something there and you need to go look for it, because it doesn't matter whether or not you find it, and versus you finding it rather and dealing with it, or it's happening and you just choose not to go look. I mean, look, curiosity may kill the cat, but when it comes to relationships and what you want to do and the agency you have over your feeling, your emotions, you have every right to know what the partner is doing and making sure that it is in line with what you want. So yeah, I say break into all the suitcases you need to, unlock all the phones you need to, dig in all the crates that you need to, get into whatever information you need to get into, which it may not be healthy if you're, doing it in an unhealthy manner. But if you feel like something's not right, I feel it's your duty to figure out what that is. So yeah, hey, if you don't want anything to be out there in that situation when you're in a relationship, then you shouldn't be doing anything. I mean, that's as simple end point of it all. But yeah, I think that about do it for this story. But definitely share your thoughts below. I would love to know. I know there's different, like I said, different structures for folks. People have different ways of looking at when it comes to cheating, and whether you should forgive or not forgive, or maybe it depends. Maybe the children is a situation that is a factor. Maybe it's not. Maybe it shouldn't be. Definitely just throw your thoughts down below. Respectfully, I would so appreciate it. And let's have a conversation about it. And so with that, definitely, if you are new here and you haven't had a chance to subscribe, I hope that you will join the community, join the family. I would so love to have you, and definitely keep your all notification bells on, because I will definitely be uploading more videos on the platform. And I do have one more video that's going to be coming up later on this evening. And I did have a video that I dropped earlier today. Definitely would love for you to take that one out if you haven't had an opportunity, as well as the one that's going to be popping up here in a few hours. And definitely leave it and share your thoughts in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about it. And yeah, so with that, I will bid you adieu. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, you take care. Be blessed. Bye.